Have you ever woken up in the middle of the night, again, feeling that frustrating urge to head to the bathroom? You shuffle back to bed, try to fall asleep, only to wake up once more, and maybe again after that. Before you know it, the night is over, and you've barely rested. If this sounds familiar, you are not alone. Millions of older adults struggle with what's called nocturia, or frequent nighttime urination. But here's the encouraging part: there are simple, natural ways to help calm your body and reduce those nightly interruptions. And one of the most soothing and effective approaches may be found in a warm, comforting cup of golden milk, sipped just before bed. In today's video, I'm going to share with you not just the recipe for this calming nighttime drink, but also the deeper reasons why it works, and how it can gently support your bladder and your sleep. Stay with me until the end, because I'll walk you through every step in a way that's practical, safe, and easy to try tonight. Before we get into the details, let me ask you, what would it feel like to wake up in the morning after a full night of sleep, no stumbling trips to the bathroom, no tossing and turning afterward? Imagine opening your eyes, stretching in bed, and realizing you actually feel refreshed. That's not a small thing. For many, sleep is the foundation of health, mood, memory, and even relationships. When it's broken night after night, everything else in life feels just a little bit harder. So, if there's even a gentle remedy that can help, it's worth exploring. And that's exactly what we're doing today. By the way, if you find this kind of natural, supportive advice helpful, I'd invite you to subscribe to this channel. That way you'll always have access to new tips, recipes, and guidance tailored to your health and well-being. Now, let's talk about golden milk. You may have heard of it before. It's a traditional drink, often made with warm milk, turmeric, and a touch of spice. But what makes it so interesting for older adults dealing with frequent nighttime urination is that the ingredients are more than just cozy flavors. They bring together centuries of wisdom, backed now by growing scientific research, on calming inflammation, soothing the bladder, and supporting deeper rest. When I first tried golden milk years ago, I was simply looking for a relaxing bedtime ritual. What I didn't expect was how much it seemed to help me stay asleep longer. And over the years, I've heard countless similar stories from people, friends, patients, and viewers, who found that this little ritual made a noticeable difference. Of course, I want to be clear, golden milk is not a magic cure. If you're dealing with severe or sudden urinary issues, it's important to talk with your doctor to rule out anything serious. But for many, especially when those nighttime trips are more of an annoyance than an emergency, this simple recipe can offer surprising relief. Part of the beauty is that it doesn't just target one thing, it works on multiple levels. The warmth of the milk, whether dairy or plant-based, relaxes your nervous system. The turmeric adds an anti-inflammatory boost. A touch of black pepper helps your body absorb it. Cinnamon and ginger bring comfort while also gently aiding digestion. Put together, you're not just drinking something tasty, you're giving your body a bedtime message that says, it's safe to rest. You might be wondering, how does this connect to nighttime urination specifically? Well, let's step back for a moment. As we age, our bladder can become more sensitive. For some, even a small amount of fluid is enough to trigger the urge to go. At the same time, the muscles that help hold urine can weaken. Add to that certain medications, or simply the habit of drinking fluids too late in the evening, and you've got the perfect recipe for disrupted sleep. What golden milk offers is a way to work with your body instead of against it. Because it's warming and calming, it can reduce those false alarms from an overactive bladder. Because it's slightly anti-inflammatory, it can soothe irritation in the urinary tract. And because it's paired with a mindful bedtime ritual, it gently trains your body to wind down and focus on rest rather than constant interruptions. I'll tell you a little story that may sound familiar. A few years ago, a close friend of mine, we'll call her Margaret, told me she was exhausted from waking up 3 or 4 times a night. She felt like she hadn't had a solid stretch of sleep in months. Her doctor had checked her for infection, adjusted her blood pressure medication, and still, the problem continued. When I suggested golden milk, she laughed at first, thinking it was just some trendy drink. But she tried it, half a cup about an hour before bed. Within a week, she noticed she was waking up less, sometimes only once a night, and her mornings felt dramatically better. Now, of course, her story doesn't mean everyone will have the same results. But it does highlight something important. When we find small, consistent habits that nurture our body, even gentle ones, the effect can ripple out in ways we don't expect. There's also a psychological side to this. Often, the anxiety of waking up repeatedly can create its own cycle. You start going to bed worried that you'll be up again in a couple of hours, and that very worry keeps you restless. But when you have a ritual, warming a small pot of milk, stirring in the golden color of turmeric, adding that sweet, comforting scent of cinnamon, it does more than nourish your body. It calms your mind. It signals to your heart and nervous system, this is a safe moment, this is rest time. Sometimes, that simple act of kindness toward yourself makes all the difference. I think of something the late Maya Angelou once said, every person needs to take one day away. I believe the same is true for every night. Each night is our chance to step away, to retreat into rest, so that we can return to the day with strength. But when our nights are full of interruptions, that retreat feels stolen. Golden milk, in its small, humble way, can help give that space back. Not because it fixes everything, but because it works with the body's natural rhythms rather than fighting them. Now, let's dive into the recipe itself. Golden milk is beautifully simple, and the ingredients are likely things you already have in your kitchen. The base is milk. This could be traditional cow's milk, or if you prefer, almond, oat, or coconut milk. Each has its own benefits. For example, cow's milk provides protein and natural tryptophan, which can help with sleep. Almond milk is lighter and naturally low in calories, while oat milk has a creamy texture and gentle sweetness. Coconut milk adds richness and healthy fats. Choose whichever feels best for your body and your preferences. The important part is warmth. There's something about a warm liquid in the evening that settles the body in a way cold drinks just can't. The star ingredient, of course, is turmeric. Just half a teaspoon is enough to give you that golden glow. Turmeric has been celebrated for thousands of years in Ayurvedic medicine, not just for its color, but for its anti-inflammatory and soothing properties. Modern research now supports what tradition has long known. Turmeric's active compound, curcumin, can help calm inflammation, ease joint stiffness, and even support bladder health. For our purposes, we're using it in a small, gentle dose, enough to support the body without overwhelming it. To help your body absorb curcumin, you'll add just a tiny pinch of black pepper. This may sound odd, but it's essential. Scientists have found that black pepper increases curcumin absorption by up to 2000%. And don't worry, you won't taste it. It's just a quiet partner in the mix, making sure you actually get the benefit of that beautiful turmeric. Next, we add cinnamon. A quarter teaspoon of ground cinnamon brings warmth, sweetness, and a lovely aroma. Cinnamon also helps regulate blood sugar, which can play a role in nighttime urination. You see, when blood sugar is poorly controlled, the kidneys work harder to filter it out, leading to more trips to the bathroom. So cinnamon is not just delicious, it's practical. Ginger is another optional but highly recommended spice. Fresh ginger root, sliced thin or grated, adds a gentle zing and supports digestion. For many people, indigestion or bloating at night contributes to restless sleep and frequent waking. Ginger soothes the stomach, allowing your body to rest more peacefully. Now for the finishing touch, a little natural sweetener if you like. A teaspoon of honey, for those who can tolerate it, not only softens the flavor but also has mild antibacterial properties. Honey has even been linked with improved sleep quality because it gently raises insulin, which helps the brain produce serotonin, a calming neurotransmitter. If you're diabetic or avoiding sugar, you can skip it or use a drop of stevia. The drink will still be just as comforting. To prepare golden milk, pour about 1 cup of your chosen milk into a small pot. Gently warm it over low to medium heat, don't let it boil. Stir in your turmeric, cinnamon, black pepper, and ginger if you're using it. Let it simmer for 3 to 5 minutes so the flavors can mingle. Then, pour it into your favorite mug, stir in honey if desired, and sip it slowly about 30 to 60 minutes before bed. The process itself is as healing as the drink. Standing in your quiet kitchen, breathing in the spice, stirring with intention, it becomes a nightly ritual that prepares your mind and body for rest. Of course, recipes are never one size fits all. If you find the turmeric flavor too strong, start with just 1/4 teaspoon and gradually increase. If you're sensitive to dairy, oat or almond milk makes an excellent substitute. And if you're taking medications that interact with spices, always check with your doctor before adding something new to your routine. Safety first, always. What's remarkable is that this small cup of golden milk isn't just about quenching thirst or calming the bladder. It's about creating a moment of pause in your evening. Many older adults tell me that nights are when worries creep in, concerns about health, about family, about the future. Sitting down with this warm, golden drink can be like telling your body and your mind, it's time to let go. I remember one gentleman in his 70s who shared that he and his wife began making golden milk together each evening. He said it became their quiet ceremony. Not only did it help with his sleep, but it gave them a shared moment of peace, which deepened their connection. When we think of health, we often focus only on the physical side. But emotional well-being is just as important. Frequent nighttime urination doesn't just disrupt the body, it can create stress, frustration, and even embarrassment. Some people avoid visiting family or traveling because they worry about bathroom access. Others feel anxious about disturbing a spouse's sleep. I want you to hear this clearly, you are not alone, and you don't have to just live with it. Small adjustments, like golden milk, combined with mindful habits, can ease the burden and restore a sense of control. That said, golden milk works best when paired with a few simple lifestyle choices. One of the most effective is managing evening fluid intake. It doesn't mean you should deprive yourself of water during the day. In fact, dehydration can make urinary problems worse. Instead, focus on hydrating earlier, and gently tapering off in the 2 to 3 hours before bedtime. This way, your bladder isn't overfilled just as you're trying to sleep. Another helpful habit is reducing caffeine and alcohol in the evening, since both can irritate the bladder and act as diuretics. Even decaf coffee can sometimes be a culprit, so pay attention to how your body responds. Exercise also plays a role. Gentle pelvic floor exercises, often called Kegels, strengthen the muscles that support bladder control. You don't need to do anything intense. A few minutes each day, while sitting in a chair or lying down, can make a noticeable difference over time. Combine this with calming evening practices, like light stretching or listening to soft music, and your body gets the message, it's time to rest, not time to run back and forth to the bathroom. There's also a powerful mental shift that comes with adopting rituals like golden milk. In his book The Power of Habit, Charles Duhigg explains how small routines can rewire the brain, creating patterns that make life feel more manageable. For seniors, who may face daily challenges with health or mobility, these rituals bring comfort and predictability. Golden milk isn't just a drink, it becomes a symbol, a cue that tells the brain, now we are entering a state of rest. One of the most moving stories I've heard was from a widow in her early 80s. She had struggled with loneliness at night, often lying awake for hours. When she began making golden milk, she told me she felt as though she was giving herself a gift, a way of caring for her body and soul. Over time, she said, the nightly ritual felt like a conversation with her late husband, a way of remembering him while also moving forward in peace. It reminded me that sometimes healing comes not only from what we consume, but from how we create meaning around it. So, as you prepare to try this recipe, I want you to approach it not just as a remedy, but as a ritual. Take your time. Let the warmth, the colors, the aromas remind you that rest is a right, not a luxury. Frequent nighttime urination can feel like an enemy stealing your sleep. But with gentle, intentional practices, you can reclaim your nights. By now, you can see that golden milk is much more than a bedtime drink. It's a way of telling your body, your mind, and even your spirit that rest is possible. But here's something equally important. When we address issues like frequent nighttime urination, we're not just solving a medical inconvenience. We're nurturing confidence, dignity, and peace of mind. And those matter every bit as much as physical comfort. Think about how nighttime struggles ripple into daily life. If you've had a night of constant waking, you may find yourself snapping at loved ones, forgetting things, or feeling too drained to enjoy activities. Relationships suffer quietly when fatigue takes over. I've heard older couples share how frustrating it can be for both partners when one person is up several times a night. The one who wakes up feels embarrassed, while the one whose sleep is disturbed may feel resentful. Over time, these tiny cracks can strain even the strongest bonds. But something as small as finding a gentle solution, and committing to it together, can restore not only better sleep, but also harmony in the home. In fact, I encourage couples to make golden milk a shared ritual. Even if only one of you struggles with nighttime urination, preparing and drinking it together can become a moment of connection. Imagine sitting side by side in the quiet evening, sipping something warm, perhaps sharing a few words about your day or simply enjoying silence together. That intimacy is healing in itself. It reminds me of a line from The Little Prince by Antoine de Saint-Exupéry. It is the time you have wasted for your rose that makes your rose so important. When we spend time together intentionally, even in small ways, it makes our relationships bloom. Of course, not everyone has a partner at home. Many older adults live alone, and for them, nighttime challenges can feel even heavier. Waking up multiple times in the dark can stir feelings of loneliness or even fear. This is where rituals like golden milk shine brightest. They give you something steady and comforting to look forward to each evening. It becomes less about being alone and more about choosing an act of self-care. And that shift, from isolation to intentionality, can lift the spirit in powerful ways. Beyond the drink itself, let's explore a few more strategies that can make your nights easier. One is establishing a consistent bedtime routine. Our bodies thrive on rhythm. Going to bed and waking up at roughly the same times helps regulate your internal clock. Pairing golden milk with a calming routine, perhaps dimming the lights, reading a gentle book, or practicing a few minutes of gratitude, creates a powerful association in your brain. These actions mean it's time for rest. Neuroscientists call this cue-based behavior, and it works no matter your age. Another strategy is practicing mindful breathing. Many people underestimate how much anxiety plays a role in frequent waking. If you wake up in the night and feel your mind racing, a few slow, intentional breaths can calm the nervous system. Try this simple method: inhale gently through your nose for a count of 4, hold for a count of 2, exhale slowly through your mouth for a count of 6. Repeat 3 or 4 times. This not only relaxes your body but also distracts your mind from focusing too much on the urge to get up. Sometimes, the bladder sends signals out of habit, not necessity. Calming your mind can help you recognize the difference. I also want to address something sensitive: the emotional weight of aging. For many seniors, nighttime struggles feel like one more reminder that the body is changing, and that can stir grief or frustration. You might find yourself thinking, "I never had this problem when I was younger. Why now?" It's okay to acknowledge those feelings. They're natural. But here's the truth: aging is not about loss alone. It's also about wisdom, resilience, and learning how to adapt with grace. Finding gentle remedies, like golden milk, is part of that adaptation. It's not giving up, it's choosing a kinder way forward. There's a story I once heard from a retired teacher who had spent decades caring for others. She told me that when she first noticed her bladder waking her up at night, she felt embarrassed, almost ashamed. But over time, she reframed the situation. Instead of seeing it as a weakness, she began to view it as her body asking for more care. She started treating her nightly golden milk not as a fix, but as an act of compassion, like she used to show her students when they were restless. That mindset shift brought her peace. And isn't that what we all want? Not just fewer bathroom trips, but more peace. It's worth mentioning that small environmental adjustments can also help. Keeping a soft night light in the hallway reduces the risk of falls if you do need to get up. Placing a sturdy chair nearby can provide support. These small steps remove fear and make nighttime less stressful. Because often, it's not just the waking, it's the worry about safety that makes the night so unsettling. And when your mind is at ease, your body rests more deeply. I also encourage you to be open about this with loved ones. Too often, older adults suffer in silence, thinking, "I don't want to bother anyone with this." But health challenges are not burdens, they are opportunities for connection. Sharing what you're experiencing can open doors to support and empathy. You may find your children, grandchildren, or friends are more understanding than you imagined. And sometimes, just saying the words out loud lifts a weight you didn't realize you were carrying. Finally, I want to leave you with a thought from the poet Rumi: the wound is the place where the light enters you. Nighttime struggles may feel like wounds, interruptions in your rest, but they can also be the very places where healing rituals, like golden milk, bring light back into your life. Every night becomes an opportunity to practice gentleness, with your body, with your mind, with your spirit. So tonight, when you prepare that simple golden drink, don't just think of it as a recipe. Think of it as a gift you're giving yourself, a gift of warmth, of calm, of hope. Sip slowly. Breathe deeply. Let it remind you that even in the challenges of aging, there are small, beautiful ways to restore peace. You deserve rest. You deserve comfort. And with patience and consistency, you may just find that the nights become easier, and the mornings brighter.